Hey everyone, it's Allison. Welcome back to my channel. Today is a fun day because we are going to be unboxing an advent calendar from Spellbinders. Now, I'm actually going to be showing you more than one advent calendar, and I'm going to start with this one. This is the Crafty advent calendar. Now, you might know that they started doing this last year, Spellbinders, and this was super popular and a lot of fun. Right now I'm not opening it. I'm just taking the plastic packaging off because I don't want the glare on the camera. I will not be opening this today. I am very sorry, but this is available for sale now, but Spellbinders does not want us sharing it until December. So starting December 1st, I will be opening up one window a day and sharing what's inside. But you can see the packaging online, so I feel comfortable showing you on here. There's dies, embossing folders, stencils, stamps, embellishments, basically just little surprises in each window. And you can see the back that shows you what it looks like when you open it up, and it is so cute and fun, and this would make such a great present for one of your crafty friends, or tell your significant other that you want this as a surprise for yourself. So that is the Crafty advent calendar, and like I said, it was so popular. Look at what they have this year, the 12 days of Stitchmas. So this is very much like the advent calendar, and I'll show you. Look how fun that is. Now, obviously, Stitchmas. There's going to be stitching die sets in here. So I am going to open up the first little window here, and I'm going to show you what's inside, and then I'm going to create a couple projects with it. But first, just look at these. How fun is this little advent calendar? It is so cute. I love the retro vibe. I love the retro colors. So each window has this little perforated little notch, and you just open it up, and when you open it up, it's going to show you a picture of what's inside. So there you get your first glimpse of day one, and it's a sweet little tree. So I'm just going to open up the whole thing. There's just kind of like a piece of white paper covering the openings, and there is the die set. So inside the die set we have basically three layers to make a tree, and then there are a couple pieces to make trim or garland, and then there's a star. Now, I'm going to be doing this every day for the next 12 days. I hope. I'm running a little behind, so fingers crossed that I can pull this off. But what I want to do is show you, I'm going to obviously show you stitching, but I'm going to try to show you that you don't have to stitch with these dies. You can do things that don't involve stitching. So here I've cut each layer out of a different color of green. And I have selected 3 green colors of embroidery floss. And here I'm going to show you my little kit, my little embroidery floss kit. This is just a plastic box. It's like a school supply box that I got at Target. And I keep some washi tape in there. I keep all my embroidery floss. And I do have bobbins. I'm really bad about putting my floss on bobbins. I tend to only put it on there when I have leftovers. So I just haven't really taken the time to do much with that. And then I have some metallic floss. I do like the DMC embroidery floss. And I have my little collapsible scissors. These are really good if you want to go on an airplane. I have gotten on an airplane with these scissors before with my little kit. And here I just happen to have some things that I had stitched. I think this was from that cute little sweater from a few months back from Spellbinders. And this little thing, this was in my grandma's sewing box, which is now my sewing box, and it's like felt, and I keep my needles in there, and I don't really, kind of looks like a bunny to me. I don't know what it is, but it has sentimental value because it was my grandma's. So I am starting with the light green, and this is a 6-strand floss from DMC, and I'm going to be using 3 strands. So what I'm going to do, probably not all 12 days am I going to be showing you all of the stitching. But here for this one, I'm just coming in one of the holes on the bottom, and I'm going to take a piece of washi tape. I'm going to go kind of slow on this first one so you can see it kind of in real time. So sometimes I use washi tape to keep my thread on, secure, and sometimes I don't. So I'm going to go through the top and then back down to another hole at the bottom, and then through the top again, and it's just really easy stitching. It couldn't be easier. So who likes stitching out there? This is actually the first time I've stitched on camera. I usually do it when I travel, especially when I go to visit my parents. It's a great time to stitch. So, but I was trying to save all this stitching to do on camera. So now that I have finished, I'm going to get another piece of washi tape and just secure that other end of my thread. And then I'll just snip off the excess and move on to the middle layer of the tree. So there's that little guy. So the middle layer, you can see there's not just one hole at the top, there's several, but it's really easy to stitch with the Spellbinders stitching dies because there's lines, and you just follow the lines, and it's really easy. Now for this one, I'll go through a hole at the top, and then I'll come back through a hole at the top to go back down, if that makes sense. And then I'll go back down, and then I'll go to the hole next to it and come back up. So here I'm just finishing this one up. And again, I will put a piece of washi on the other side of that thread. So here I'm starting with the bottom layer, and same as the middle layer, I'm going to go up to the top hole, go to the hole next to it, come back down, and really, really easy stitching. So stitching, I have a lot of stitching dies, and I honestly like finding ways to use them without stitching. Not that I don't like stitching, but I think they're versatile. So you can see on the right that I have cut out some just plain cardstock. I didn't use the stitching dies. So I'm going to create a same but different set of tags today. So I've cut the little garland or the trim out of some pink cardstock, and I cut the stars out of yellow. And for this little unstitched tree, I'm just going to add a little bit of color with some ink blending. Now I could have also cut these 3 pieces out of different colors of cardstock. I could have cut them out of the same colors that I did for the stitching one to the left, but I didn't. I just chose to ink blend, which is really easy. And I could have started off with white cardstock and ink blended. I know some people don't like to use colored cardstock. So cutting it out in white is always an option, and just use your inks to create your own colors. So here I'm just gluing on the little pink trim. And I'm going to assemble these little trees the same exact way. So I'm just assembling the non-stitched version first, and now I'm going to do the stitch one. So my plan honestly had been for each day of the 12 days of Stitchmas, I was going to do a stitched version and an unstitched version. So you see my tags. I've cut it out with the Create a Decorative Tag die from Spellbinders. And I'm going to use this little sentiment from the stamp set. This is the Silly Santas set from Simon Hurley, who has, if you didn't know, has been doing a lot of collections with Spellbinders. So I want to put this little stamp up in the corner, but it's leaving a lot of room at the bottom. So I have a remedy for that. I'm going to just do some partial die cutting. So you see me placing the die kind of like where I would want the bottom of the tag to be. I just basically want a shorter tag. And partial die cutting is great for this. If you have a rectangle die and you just want it to be shorter, or let's say you have a square die and you want to make it into a rectangle. So you'll see I have my die cutting machine out, and see that top plate, I'm just covering the part of the die that I want to cut. And that's the only part it will cut, whatever the top plate is covering. So now you see that it just cut that bottom, and it gave, the rounded corners that I needed. So now it just looks the exact same way as it did before. It's just shorter. All right, so now we're going to stamp, and I have my mini Misty, and inside I have my grip mat from Waffle Flower. And I love that because I don't have to use a magnet to hold my paper now. And I'm just lining the stamp up. And I will just do some simple stamping with some black pigment ink. And I'm going to do this on both tags, but I'm going to do kind of the reverse to make them a little different. And I kind of wanted my little trees to be a little wonky. So you'll see I'm kind of making a mirror image of these tags. All right, so for the second layer, I am using some thin foam tape because I want the layers to get progressively higher. So that second layer, again, I'm using some thin foam tape. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to just finish this unstitched version first. And I'll just finish this all the way through. And so for the top layer, I want to use sticker foam tape. So I have this foam tape from Simon Says Stamp. And for the star, I'm just cutting the foam tape into a smaller piece that I can then place on the star. And that will, keep the star from sagging. So now that I have that on there, I can pull the release tape off and place this little guy on top. So I'm going to, for the 12 days of Stitchmas, I'm going to probably keep my projects pretty simple. Maybe sometimes it won't be simple, but for the most part. Here I have my fairy jewels. These are just some great clear jewels from Memory Box, and in those little holes of the trim, the little pink trim, I am just covering those with the little jewels. And here are the finished tags, and I think they're so cute. And I love, again, how you can use this little die set to create something that's not stitched. So there you have it for day 1. I will be back tomorrow with day 2. Again, they're both available on the Spellbinders site now. So I will have links below, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.